It's showtime.
Showtime. This is SANDCAST, beach volleyball with Bourne and Travis Knudsen. Travis Mewhirter. We do have another Mewhirter, not in the house, but
that's right.
She was at AVP Media Day and had her name officially changed. Delaney Knudsen had her name officially changed to Delaney Mewhirter on AVP.
Really?
Rosters and everything, yep.
Perfect timing for Media Day.
I know. It was funny. The guy was funny. Whoever was, I guess, doing some of the videos or pictures, that wasn't Glazebrook or Casey or Troy. Mm-hmm. He was like, wait, so you married into that name? She was like, yeah. Tough for marketing.
Dude, yeah. Well, thanks. Congrats, first of all.
It's a good start to the year.
Seems like you've been having a good time on that honeymoon, too, up in Tahoe.
Yeah, Tahoe was great.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It was good times being up there.
Yeah, glad you guys could make it. We had a good volley crew.
Dude,
up there.
I had a great time.
Yeah, it was a fun little crew we had up there.
Partying.
Yeah.
Big Bear. It's feeling it. You got Pod Mama Gabby on the dance floor.
Yeah, got you a weekend away from the kiddo.
Yep, first night away.
Not that you guys want a night away from Naya, but I think a weekend away is always needed.
It didn't hurt. That's for sure. You gave us the only reasonable excuse to do it. Dude, it was good times.
Yeah, and got Trev and Bran out there.
Yep. It was a solid little volleyball community.
Yeah, it was fun. My parents were hilarious because they were just like, we just adore all of your volleyball friends. They're like, they're so tall and so smart and so fun.
It was just randomly throughout the wedding, during the speeches where someone would have to throw out and your damn tall friends or something.
My little brother.
All these volleyball players.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did not like that everyone was taller than him, for sure. Including your wife.
Yeah. Yeah. It was funny when they first met and he was just like, you serious?
Really?
Like your girlfriend's 6 feet tall? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, because my older brother's 6'4" and I'm 6'5"-ish, and then Cody's 5'9". He claims 5'10", so
we'll give it to him.
Yeah, we'll give it to him.
Yeah, that was good times for sure.
So now preseason's kind of off season for me is now over because I used February as my pseudo off season because it was after the Cook Islands and then we had the wedding and the honeymoon, so it was the perfect time to just do nothing.
Now you got to go on the road again, though, right?
Yeah. So now I'm going back to the East Coast to go to Florida State for a tournament there. They're hosted. They have a really good tournament coming in. They got Cal Poly, Stetson, Florida State. I think LSU is going to be in Hawaii, but there's TCU and South Carolina. So there's 5 really good teams in Florida State this weekend, and then I'm stopping by Orlando to see Phil and Nick for 2 days.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And then I was actually just talking to Phil. Yeah, so I'm just doing a big feature on Phil, just because it's his last. We think it's his last year. He's been saying that since Beijing. Yeah. Right. And then just because and him and Nick are always if anybody ever wants to come out to Florida to train, come on. Totally. So I was well, I'll be there, and I'm gonna come down and say hi anyway.
Are you gonna play?
Maybe, well, I don't know. Nikolai and Lupo are in town that they're training with them. Yeah. So if not, then I get to just hang out and not train, which is still what I'm trying to do.
That's a solid training group for sure. We were thinking about going out to Florida actually.
Because you guys went last year.
Yeah, and we trained with Phil and Nick, but we didn't want to travel right. Yeah. It would be 2 weeks before. Where are we going? Qatar.
Yeah. So
we figure save ourselves a flight. We're actually going to go down to the USOC, or actually it's not USOC anymore. It's the OTC, Olympic Training Center down in Chula Vista, and just kind of isolate ourselves down there for a week or so. A few teams are going to come down and train with us, and
it's perfect.
Just going to eat, sleep, breathe volley.
Nice.
For a week, and then we have a week back here, and then we're gone.
Then you're going to Doha.
Then we're to Doha. Then we come back for a week, and then to Mexico.
Okay, I'll be there. I'm going to Cancun.
Hey, yeah, spring break.
Yeah, Volleyball Mag splurging for me this year. It's awesome.
Volleyball Mag sending you spring break.
Yeah.
In Cancun.
Yeah.
Stay away from the wet t-shirt contest.
Tough job.
You're married man now.
I'm a married man. I got my rubber ring.
There you
Prove
go.
It.
Yep. The true athlete ring.
Yeah, and it was funny because I had a titanium ring, but I was getting nervous before the wedding, so my finger started to swell up a little bit, and I was like, I can't take this thing off. So I was like, oh, shit. Delaney, I'm just going to wear this one until I feel safe wearing those things.
Yeah, I lost mine, so there's that.
Yeah. So this thing was like $12 for a 6-pack, so I think I'll be good.
Yeah. Get a few different colors.
Yeah, mix it up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Should be fun.
Yeah.
And your volleyball mag sending you to Mexico.
Yeah.
Which is going to be spicy. Which is going to be just these first 2 events are going to be huge.
Yeah, and huge.
We're going to know so much by the end of these 2 events.
Yeah, because especially with, that can be kind of the first point. So the point of this podcast is to do kind of like a season preview. Mm-hmm. We did one last year that was pretty popular, just like what players to watch and like what events, what your schedule's looking like, what mine's looking like. But yours is already changing. So Cancun and Doha are that much more important now that we've already lost 2 4-stars in China, likely a third. I can't imagine that the simming 4-star would be happening.
Yeah, no, I've been talking to everyone at USA Volleyball too, and there's no reason to believe that event's going to run. And if they do run it, I don't know who's going to go. I don't think any of us want to go to that.
Right. And there would be no real point, because simming was right after Yangzhou.
Yeah.
And that was the week after. So, there's no way it's going to happen. So that would make it 3 less 4-stars, which would bring you guys down to 9 point-worthy events to play in?
Yeah.
Which are point-worthy events, like 3 and 4 stars
I really
combined.
don't even know, yeah. We have the 1 5-star, and then we weren't planning on playing in any 3-stars.
Yeah.
So maybe we have to throw one in, but at this point we're just stick with Cancun and Doha, and then we do a full reset and figure out where we have to go from there.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're in great position, and we're all right, we just can pick and choose here. Stick with the 4-stars. You don't want to be scrambling at the end, for sure.
Well, so Phil and Nick are signed up for Coolangatta, the 3-star in Australia.
Okay.
And I didn't know if, the 4-stars in China getting canceled would make you guys look at Latvia right after Huntington between Austin, or if you'd say, well, it doesn't... because at this point, you guys almost have to win a 3-star to get a benefit.
I think we would benefit from a top 3, probably. Okay. Phil and Nick are in a little bit of a different situation because they just want to get finishes so that they can fill their 12 and start replacing.
Yeah.
But that's gnarly. They're going to go to Qatar, straight to Australia, and then back to Mexico. I guess that's somewhat in order.
Yeah.
They're going to do a full circumnavigation of the globe.
Yeah. But Phil, they don't enjoy traveling.
No, yeah.
That's why they only have 10 events.
To be going to a 3-star at this point is a little stressful. So they're probably not happy that China was canceled, I'm guessing. But I'd rather go to Australia. I just wonder how far that flight is from Qatar to Australia.
Nothing's close to Australia.
Right, yeah, exactly. No, I don't think that's close at all.
Yeah, no, so we're
not doing that.
Yeah. But it was funny talking, because I talked to a bunch of different players, when the announcement was made that Yangzhou got canceled, and you and Trevor were okay, we don't have to go to China. Totally fine. It's not that you don't want to play events, but if you don't have to go to China, you don't have to go to China.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
A good thing.
No, well, and it also could potentially open us up to playing in Huntington.
Yeah.
Do I want to play in Huntington Beach, or do I want to go to China?
Right.
Come on. I'm dying to play AVPs. I've probably played less AVPs than anyone that's been on tour as long as I have. I guarantee it, actually. Yeah. So, and especially Huntington. I've been to I want to say 3 finals in Huntington in my 4 tournaments there, 5 tournaments there.
The first event that I watched when I came here was when you and John beat Mayer and Doherty.
Nice.
That was the first one. It's the first time I ever saw you play.
Yeah, we made a final 2 years before that against Theo and Nick, and freaking lost. And then the next year we played against Casey and Jake in the final and freaking lost. And then redemption against
Just needed
Doherty.
Me to come out there.
We needed you. You were the money factor.
I think you sealed the low line on Mayer.
Yep.
Block for the win.
Yep. A little show and take line.
Yep.
And then there was also bonus check that tournament, I remember.
Oh, nice.
Rakuten was
Those are nice.
sponsoring the tour, and they threw up a little bonus check for the finals.
Nice.
Problem is, we won the bonus check, but before the final, we all agreed to split it. Damn it. they threw it out there. I was like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I'll take some guaranteed money.
Yeah.
But then I could have had it all.
Yeah. I mean, you're not gonna lose money taking guaranteed money, so that's usually a good move.
That's true. Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, so like you and Trevor, you've already got your finishes. You're in the driver's seat of your Olympic destiny because you're in second. So like you guys were both kind of like, well, I mean, if they're canceled, then they're canceled. We get to stay home. We don't need to catch anyone. But then I talked to Emily Stockman and Kelly Larson, and they were super bummed because they have a bit of a climb. So they need as many events as they can. Yeah,
I mean, the way I look at it, you could look at it that we're not in second because it's really about average finishes.
Right.
We have a little bit of an advantage in that we're just adding, but I mean, we're not thinking of it like, oh, we have the 2 spot, now we just hold on to it. Not at all. Like, I guarantee that every one of us, Jake and Phil, are all going to better their average finishes a lot in this next bit. It's just who's going to go the furthest. What 2 teams are going to better them the most. So I don't think we're sitting pretty at all, but we're also not going to go throw ourselves out there and just, I'm going to play in everything. Because I believe when you're trying to add finishes, I'd rather have 1 first place than 2 fourth place. You know? Like, or 3 fifth place.
Right.
Because you just need those 1 big finishes, and anything bad, you're just dropping.
Yeah.
So like me and Hayden last quad, I feel like we lost out on that Olympic spot because I thought we were more consistent and better. If you would have taken all of our finishes, I think we would have had a higher average.
Yeah.
I have no idea if that's true or not. But because Casey and Jake were taking some 17ths and 25ths in there, but they were also getting the 5ths and like a podium here and there.
Yeah. And
me and Hayden were just like 9th, 5th, like right in that area a lot. So like our average might have been higher, but Olympics drops your back finishes and takes your top ones, so that didn't help us. Yeah. So in this situation, I'd rather just go for quality. Like, right. I just want to go get 1 good finish and then worry about the next one. Yeah. And with my health stuff, like I don't need to be traveling around the world chasing 3 stars, and because if we go to, let's say, Australia and pull a 17th, and now I just traveled all the way out there, and now I'm struggling just to recover I put myself in a bad position for Cancun. Right. So that's our strategy, is just be ready and go for it. We're not going to be chasing points unless it comes down to it at the end. Then you see what you have to do and you go try to execute it. Yeah. So with the China events, is the coronavirus, because that was why the China events got canceled, is that like a concern for you at all traveling? If I'm going to China, it is. Yeah. Do you think just China? Because, there are cases in, Texas. Totally, so, no. I just don't think it's worth my concern at this point. Yeah. And I understand it's a full world health issue right now. Right. But I'm not quite ready to wear the mask and, right. But I will absolutely be careful. I have hand sanitizer. Not that that's going to save me, but on my bag at all times, you know, and staying away from other people, and especially if they're coughing. You're looking. You're always on the lookout, even when there's not the coronavirus going around. But right now, for sure, you're going to be a little more vigilant about those that bacteria. But I'm not nervous about it. If I was going to China, if we're never forced, but if this was an event we needed to go to and they played it, I would be wearing a mask, absolutely. Yeah. And it would be a comical trip to watch on our Instagrams. Yeah. For sure. So that was fan question number 1. What are thoughts on cancellations, postponing the China events? That's from Tams. And he has a follow-up, different kind of tangent. Any hot gossip on new partnerships? So we'll just kind of give a rundown of the new partnerships, men's and women, and kind of evaluate from there. So the new partnerships, David Lee is partnered with Reed Pretty. Chase Budinger is partnered with Kame Schock, Casey Patterson, and Troy Field, the Media Day Dream Boys. Jeremy K-Spear and Sean Rosenthal. I have a little love triangle here between Tim Baumgren, Theo Brunner, and Miles Evans, because Tim and Theo announced that they're partners, but Theo's playing FIVBs and training with Miles. Yeah. So we'll see how that works out. Which they're in
I mean, this podcast will be out after it happens, but country quota for Doha's on Thursday, right?
I think so, yeah.
And I think Miles and Theo are playing Came and Chase to play into Billy and Stafford.
Ooh.
So that'll be an interesting country quota. Ty Loomis and Ryan Daugherty, I think, is a thing. Not confirmed, but I'm pretty sure that's happening.
I've heard that.
Yeah. So there's that. John Hyden and Bill Kalinsky, which I think is just a domestic thing.
Yep.
Kalinsky's playing. He was signed up for the China events with Mike Bogue, but now they're canceled, so I don't know what's going on there. And then we have Eric Baranek and Andy Benish, which I put on there because even though they're not like at the Theo, Miles, Baumgren level. I think Baranek made a semifinal last year, and he's
domestically
awesome.
They could easily be the most improved team, even though that's not an award.
For sure. And then other partnerships that are just staying, Jake Gibb and Taylor Crabb, you and Trevor, Phil and Nick.
Billy and Staff.
And then, I don't know, do we miss anyone? And then you have like floaters like Ricardo.
Yeah.
Who I don't, Piotr, Burek.
Travis Mewhirter.
Just floating.
Kyle Friends floating out there. We were just talking about that.
Yeah, trying to. So that I have. So then I have like the stocks to buy. Kyle Friend is a big stock to buy for me this year.
I think so.
He's like top of my list for partners.
You should buy it.
And yeah, trying to. Kyle, if you're listening,
come on, Kyle.
Let's go. We're 2 for 2 in tournaments. But yeah, Kyle's awesome. Because we've played 2 tournaments together, medaled twice. I think we played in 2 NORCECA qualifiers and went undefeated in both. So I like to play with him.
And he knows how to. I mean, he's just a good all-around volleyball player, and he knows how to play in all different environments and situations. For him, I think it was just a matter of getting the reps on the beach because he was more of an indoor player. But I think I would buy that stock for sure.
Yeah. So Kyle's a big stock to buy for me. I don't know because at this point, like I feel like every like blocker move that's available is pretty lateral. Like there's like that cluster of like Case Beer and those guys who are like the main draw tier, and then there's like a drop off with like Paul Lotman. I don't know if he's playing with Miles Partain or not.
I heard. Who did I hear Partain was playing with?
He's signed up for an FIVB with. Actually, he's in Cambodia right now with David Lee.
I want to say Doherty and Partain.
Really? That could be.
Yeah, I think I heard that.
Okay, that would be fun.
That's a rumor because I just like.
So that would put. So we'll make another love triangle of Loomis, Doherty, and Miles Partain.
Well, Loomis is always kind of dipping in and out, like doing his own thing.
Yeah. So that would be awesome. But yeah, so you have guys like Paul Lotman, who's available, and then this big Russian blocker named Lev Prima, who I think he made like 5 or 6 main draws last year. And then, but I feel like most blockers are Mike Brunsting, is kind of in that tier where it's a lot of like lateral stuff. Yep. So like none of these guys listed, I think, are gonna like make a huge partner jump. Although
Lotman should. He got a lot better from year 1 to 2,
for
right?
sure. Yeah.
So I guess there's potential there to buy some stock.
And he has like one of the best jump serves I've ever tried to pass.
And he played in Poland and I'm sure other places for years, like extremely high level volleyball, plus Olympics.
Yeah. And he just had a baby, so congrats to Paul.
There we go. Congrats, yeah.
So I don't know if that's good or bad for his volleyball game, but
I don't know about mine either. We'll see.
True. So Miles Partain is also, I have him on the list of stocks to buy this year. I think he's a big stock to buy. For sure. Another Miles Evans, I think is kind of due for a breakout.
Yeah. I agree.
Because like last year he sort of floated in and out. Like him and Avery didn't qualify in Seattle, and then he made the finals in his next event in Hermosa with Ryan Daugherty. And then he was like, kind of in and out with Kalinsky internationally. So I think once Miles settles in with someone, I think he's going to be really good.
A lot of these guys are going to be, top level guys pretty soon. It's just a matter of getting that perfect partner match, I think.
Yeah. Let's see. Who else is on the list? Logan Weber. I don't know. Have you gotten to see him play?
I don't think I've seen him play much. Maybe from afar.
Okay. Yeah, he's like 6'8" kid from Michigan, like long hand sets, pretty physical.
Yep.
And he trains with Burek like all day long. And
So
he just
lots of reps.
He plays like 15 times a week. He's like one of those guys who just like never stops training. I think he's gonna have a good year. I think the guy to make the biggest jump for me would be Andy Benish.
Yeah.
We saw him a little bit. He only made 2 main draws last year, I think. He made Hermosa with Adam Roberts, and they took 7th. And they beat Billy and Stafford. And, and then they took Tim and Troy to 3. Because Andy's huge. Like, he's a big middle blocker at SC.
I remember seeing him. I actually did like I remember seeing him in high school for whatever reason. And I was like pretty amazed with like, wow, this middle blocker can pass and dig and like dive, and he's got like hands.
Yeah,
so he's huge. He knows how to block, but he also has this like touch.
Yeah,
which is like you're built for the beach.
Super athletic.
Yeah, so for him it's just a matter of reps too, and now he's been getting them. So for sure, I could see him being newcomer of the year. Is he eligible for that? Probably.
Yeah, because he only made 2 main draws. Yeah. So I don't know what the cutoff is for
Rookie
of the Year.
I'm pretty sure Ricardo was Rookie of the Year.
He's like 45.
And like the most accomplished player ever.
Yeah. So Andy would be, I would say he's a likely candidate for Rookie of the Year because Miles Partain won it last year, I think.
Yep.
And Andy's like young enough and new enough that he would be a deserving rookie. Got Baranek on the list of stock to buy. Although maybe I feel like Baranek is kind of like one of those stocks that like might be sort of overvalued. Like he's got a lot of hype.
Right.
He's really only had
that
like 2
one
good
really
finishes.
really good finish, and people
Manhattan.
bought into it.
Yeah,
for sure. That's good for him. You know, that's what he raised the bar for himself. Like that's an accomplishment. But now he has to consistently live at that bar.
Yeah.
That's the hard part about having one good finish.
Right.
You're like, wow, I really set that bar high. Now I got to hit that every time.
Yeah, and I think that you can see kind of he's still finding it because he had that huge finish in Manhattan and then barbecued out of Chicago and then took a 5th in Hawaii. So he's just like super up and down.
Yeah. But that's pretty normal early on too. So you can tell he has the potential. The potential's there, so it's the same kind of thing. Like if it clicks, he could potentially take off with the right guy.
Yeah, and him and Andy are doing like all the right things. They got a coach. They have like a physical trainer that they go to, so they're doing everything right.
They're all in.
Yeah,
that's how you do it.
Which I love, and I love that they're both young and together, and they can kind of like grow together.
But also like going all in when you're young, not just like, oh, hey, you want to show up at the beach?
Right.
I mean, I even think working out together is a huge thing. You know, you're communicating more, you're understanding like your partner's work ethic, what they're putting in. You can push each other in the gym. I'm a firm believer in like, you got to be the person or the player that you want to be before you're that person. You know? Before you, like, I want to be this great pro. Okay, well, you got to act like it. Yeah. For like a year or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. And then you'll become that person.
Right.
So, it's good to hear that they're investing in themselves.
Yeah. So I think they'll be really fun to watch. Another one of my favorites on this list, John Schwengel.
Oh, yeah.
He has worked his ass off this offseason. And every time I've played with him, he's just been like lights out.
Yeah, we had him down there as a hitting dummy, or we were the dummies. I don't know, but he was hitting. Jose had him out there because he used to coach him in youth, I believe, and he was cracking some balls at us. He's got a whip. He's got a whip, a lefty, right?
That's Timmy Brewster.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking. Yeah. No,
people confuse them a lot.
No, I'm not confusing them. I'm just picturing his arm. I feel like it was a left, but no, John was. He was working us. Yeah, he's good.
And he made his first main draw in Hawaii, and
that's right. I played him with Irving.
Yeah, Steve Irving.
That's right.
Yeah, and him and Steve like kicked ass in the qualifier against 2 good teams. I forget who they beat first round, but it was someone decent, and then they smoked Kyle Friend and Paul Ottman. And it was like 15-17 maybe. Yeah. And like that's a good team.
Yeah, me and Trev had to get up for that match. Yeah. It was like, we can't lose to these young guys. That ain't going to look good.
Yeah. So I think, and like John's starting to like mature a little bit, which is good to see. And he's like kind of understanding like the work. You can't just like you said, come out to the beach and, hey, you want to play and kick it around. And, but he's, I've been really impressed with him. Dr. Vandermeer.
Oh yeah, I haven't heard his name in a while.
Yeah, so he had kind of a quiet year last year. So he had kind of his breakout in Austin, Austin 2018.
Yep.
Him and Troy took a 9th, and I remember they took Hayden and Theo like 16-14 in the third set or something. So they were like everyone was like kind of loving on him. But he's had this like a bit of a temper on the beach, and that's like held him back a lot because he just like kind of goes nuts. And like this year he's like sort of made like a New Year's resolution to like mellow out, not mellow out, but like sort of just smooth out the edges. Yeah. And he's been awesome. I've seen him play 3 tournaments this year, and it's like the best I've ever seen him play. And he's like being supportive to his partners. He plays with Logan Weber, and he's just like helping him out, and like he's been great. He's made the finals in every tournament I've seen him play.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think that he's gonna have a good year. It's always fun to watch, like, because me and DR have been friends since I moved here, because we both moved to California at the same time. It's fun to see like your friends like figuring things out.
Yeah.
So we got Miles Partain, Miles Evans, Logan Weber, Andy Benish, Eric Baranek, Kyle Friend, Dr. Vandermeer, people call him Doc, John Schwengel. Here is a name that I think that like could win an AVP in a year or two is Dave Palm.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if you got.
He's been around for a little while, though,
seen it. Kind of.
I feel like I've heard his name. I do know him.
Yeah, he's like one of the best players. He was one of the best players in the NVL. Like won a ton.
Well, that actually explains a lot. You know, like because you're not on the AVP, it's like, why haven't I heard of you then? But that's right, he was on the NVL.
Yeah, because him and Zahn were like the best team for a couple years. And then last year he played with Dylan Merrick, qualified in Hermosa, and swept Casebeer and Kame, and kind of made like pretty big entrance.
Wow.
And I think that, and he wins like anytime he plays in Florida, it's just kind of like game over. He wins.
Right.
And he plays a lot with my roommate, J.M. Plummer, and they just win like every time they play in Florida.
Damn.
So I think that if Dave gets picked up, because him and Miles Evans actually played NVL Long Beach in 2017, and they won that.
Okay.
So I think if he gets enough points and like
he's a blocker.
Yeah. Okay. Really good blocker, just like super fundamental. I think if like Theo and Tim stick together, that like Dave and Miles would be a pretty damn good team.
Ooh, yeah.
So just throwing random possibilities out there.
There we go. Bold predictions.
Yeah, because I think that would be a big pickup for someone.
Totally.
You just got to get some points.
Yeah, the other name you mentioned was Timmy Brewster.
Yeah.
We see him training down there a lot, and I mean, Mr. Fundamental.
Dude, and just like such a good kid.
Good kid, yeah.
Love that kid.
Now it's just Jose's just trying to pull out the fire from him.
Yeah.
You need that, like.
You got to drop the niceness sometimes.
Need a little bit of FU. But yeah, no. I mean, he's got all the skills. He's just finishing up school, and he'll be out there soon enough.
Yeah, for sure. And I played Israel with him.
Israel, yeah.
For the 1-star, we had got him a career finish out there.
There we go.
Took a 5th. And like Tim, so he doesn't like he gets mad sometimes, but he just gets so sad. Yeah. Like when we lose, he's just like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, Tim, it's okay.
I think it's good. Like a lot of times you can't take it all on yourself, you know? Sometimes you got to give it out. Even you got to have a partner who's going to deflect it or let it go too. But you can't just take it all on yourself all the time. And he's so nice. He's just like, it's always my fault. Yeah. Like, no, sometimes it's just like no one's fault. Yeah. It's just F them.
Right.
For not
Screw
letting
Poland.
me score.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's been awesome watching him and John kind of come up together. And it's awesome to watch them split up. Because like they weren't going to have success with each other like any longer, and so like I'm glad that they're both like getting blockers and doing their own thing. Totally. I remember like when I first moved here and I played like Tim and John, I was like, oh, like those kids are going to be good one day, and like we're at that day where they're just really good players now. And
now they got to play the puzzle pieces of the partner.
Yeah.
Shuffle.
Yeah. So I'm glad that they're getting up there though. And then 2 more names. The last 2 that I had for the guys. One would be Brandon Clemens. I don't know if you remember, but me and you commentated on one of his matches. We played the McKibbins with Ben Vaught.
Yep.
So Brandon last year tore his ACL. He was playing with Dylan Merrick, and they won like 3 tournaments leading up to Huntington, qualified in Huntington, like cruised through the qualifier.
He played
like,
at
smashed everyone.
Harvard?
Yeah.
Harvard.
Outside at Harvard. And then he tore his ACL, I think, against the McKibbins.
Really?
Yeah. And so
you don't hear that on the beach much.
Yeah. And so he lost the whole year. And now he's back, and him and Dylan have won like 4 straight tournaments this year. Which, like, it's early. You're like, you don't want to peak in February.
What, like CBVA kind of?
The 1440 inter-squads.
Oh, right. Okay, got it.
Which are actually, like, really good tournaments.
Yeah, what a great developmental little league.
It's been awesome because, like, Ed Ratledge and Rafu are playing in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so, like, I played with, the last tournament I played was with Jake Urrutia, and we played, like, an okay team in the first round. It's really close to simulating a qualifier, where you play, like, an okay team, a pretty good team, a really good team, and a really good team. So we played an okay team, we won, and then we played Chris Austin, Earl Schultz, who got second at the Cook Islands. We beat them, and then we played, I think, DR and Logan, and then we played Brandon and Dylan. And then DR and Logan had to beat Ed and Skylar Del Sol. They're like stacked tournaments.
For sure.
They're super fun. So, and they've won like 4 of those.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn. Look out.
Yeah. So torn ACL and he's back.
Damn.
Yeah. So good for B.
That's impressive.
And then the last name I think that is probably the biggest name on here is Brian Cook.
Ah, yes. Man, when that guy finally gets healthy.
Yeah. He's a freak.
Yeah. Guy flies, physical. He's got a good touch. At this point, I feel like he understands, like he's physically starting to understand the game.
Yeah.
Instinctually. He's a pretty damn smart guy. I mean, his sister's Carissa Cook. She's very smart.
One of my favorite people in the world, too.
That'll be really interesting to see when he comes back. I believe he's still in Turkey.
He's in Turkey with Kelsey Robinson, his fiance. That's where she's playing pro.
Yep.
But I think he's training like with if there's a Turkish national team.
Yeah, they have a good team.
Yeah, I think he's training with them out there.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
I know he's still like in a fair amount of pain from his knees and back and stuff.
He had hip, knee, and back or something like that?
Something crazy. And he had like stem cell stuff
like
going
both
on.
hips or something insane.
Yeah, I don't even know where to start with his health, but it's crazy that he's like 26.
Yeah, he needed to be on the beach a long time ago, I feel like.
For sure.
On that forgiving sand.
Yeah, but if he can stay healthy, like, he's a monster.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I talked to him because him and Rosie beat me and Bjork in the final round of Hawaii, and I was talking to him after, and he's like, this is the first time I've played 2s, like 2-on-2 beach since 2017, Chicago.
Wow.
He's like, I forgot I needed to transition set because he just plays 4s on 16th, or he doesn't transcend.
He's like the guy on the 4-man, like probably one of the best 4-man players in the country. Yeah,
so he if he stays healthy, which I hope he does, because like I love Brian Cook. He's like all-time good dude.
For sure. Yep.
So that's all I got for the guys. There's obviously like we could go like down the list of names who could do well, but those are just the ones who popped off my head. I don't know if you had any.
They got to earn it.
They got to earn it. Got to earn the Tri-Bourne vote of confidence.
SANDCAST.
The SANDCAST vote of confidence. For the women, not too many new partnerships on this end. Sarah Hughes and Lauren Fendrick, who just won a 2-star in Cambodia. Congratulations.
Bravo.
Sarah's second FIVB win.
Her other one was a 4-star, I believe.
In Moscow.
Moscow, yeah.
With Summer Ross, who is now partnered with...
I have no idea.
Carissa Cook.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I talked to Carissa 2 days ago.
I would love to see the dynamic between those two.
I know. Just
Cooking
like... I think Carissa could play... would bring out the best in whoever she plays with.
True.
She's just that personality.
And Summer, like, you have to play to Summer, I feel like, you know? She's going to do her own thing, so you have to be able to bounce off of that.
Yeah.
Well, you can't, like, expect something different from her, because she's not going to change her persona or how she goes about things. And I feel like Carissa can just adapt to anyone.
Yeah, I mean, you look at like Carissa. So Carissa like played really well with Katie Spieler, who's just like this positive bundle of energy, and then she played with Jace Pardon, who's like really quiet and soft spoken and like not like crazy outgoing, and complete opposites. Had great success with both, and now she gets Summer, who's like pretty calm,
well accomplished.
Yeah, and like a ridiculous volleyball player.
Yeah.
So I love that team.
Yeah,
I think it's great.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, and I love that partnership for Summer. I think Carissa is like one of the best possible people she could pick up.
Totally. And what does that mean for World Tour though? Is Summer done with that?
I don't know. I don't know if either Summer would be done or if Summer would scoop Carissa into some events.
Well,
yeah, because Carissa's always down to travel. Like she's doing snow. She's like we did a couple of Norsecas together. Yeah. So she's doing like 4s in Doha. So Carissa's into travel.
I mean, Summer's done some legitimate things on the World Tour. So
yeah,
it would be sad to see her not playing on the World Tour, and it'd be fun to see Carissa playing on the World Tour. So
yeah, or I mean, and it could be that like Summer's just taking a break from the World Tour for until the next quad sort of
that's true
gets going. Like,
totally.
All right, let's just take the next 7 months and play AVP.
Right.
Because like you always talk about that, how like how like you wish that like you could just play AVP.
Yeah, totally.
So maybe that's what Summer's doing.
I wouldn't blame her.
Yeah. So I don't know like what their plans are, but they are officially a partnership.
Love it.
So I think that's tremendous. We've kind of talked about Corinne Quiggle and Fallon Fanoy-Moana when we had Fallon on. Love that team. Therese Cannon and Kelly Reeves are committed for the year, and they just took a silver in Cambodia. Yeah. So I think they're definitely a stock to buy for me.
Yeah, they're kind of like a Stockman Larson from last year, I feel like.
Yeah, just
around
like
that area.
Kind of up and coming.
Stockman Larson had probably more experience, but yeah, like that caliber.
Yeah, for sure. Molly Turner and Katie Hogan. So Katie Hogan made the finals in Hermosa last year when all the crazy stuff was happening.
Yeah.
Molly Turner's been like steadily climbing up. We've had her on the podcast. Mm-hmm. And then Kim DiCello and Kendra Van Zwieten. Kendra's back on the beach.
Back together.
Yeah. Yeah, so they won New Orleans of 2016.
Yeah,
maybe.
Sounds about right. I never played in New Orleans, but I remember them winning one, yeah.
Yeah, I think they won New Orleans 2016. So the band's back together again. Wow. Kendra's healthy. Delaney and Katie just practiced with them. So they're back.
Love it.
I think those are all the new partnerships for the women. Because April and Alex stuck together. Mm-hmm. Betsy Flint and Emily Day stuck together. Kelly Larson, Emily Stockman stuck together. Sarah Sponsel, Kelly Clays stuck together.
Yep.
We've already talked about Sarah went to Fendrick, Summer went to Carissa.
There'll be that mix-up of when the Canadians come over to the AVP.
Right.
When Brandy comes, she always just kind of
plucks someone, yeah.
Yeah. And then Mel and Sarah will play AVPs again.
Yeah.
Here and there.
Yeah. So most of the top of the big dogs on the women's side stayed together. Mm-hmm. So not too much movement.
Because half of them are in the Olympic race, right?
I know.
Like 5.
Yeah,
five?
I mean, we have Brooke and Carrie, which we have to mention them.
Right, of course.
But there are still 4 teams on the women's side that are in the running. Right. Because I think it's...
Unless you go look on other people's Instagrams.
Right. I think it's safe to discount Betsy and Emily at this point. Because now Betsy's full-time paid position with LMU.
Right.
I don't know how flexible she'd be to travel to all these events during LMU's season.
And they'd have to win them all.
And they would have to make like a pretty outlandish jump.
And then all the other girls would have to like not do well.
Yeah, it would take kind of a divine act for them to make it. So April and Alex are number 1 by a long shot.
Yeah.
They're in. They're qualified. Brooke and Carrie, number 2.
They have a little lead.
With a decent lead over Kelly Clays and Sarah Sponsel. Mm-hmm. And then number 4 is Kelly Larson, Emily Stockman, who are a little ways down. It's crazy that all 4 of those teams that we just mentioned are in the top 10 in the world.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's how the U.S.
Going for 2 spots.
That's insane. I think the most dangerous is Sponsel and Clays.
I think so,
They're
too.
Just like, they got this swag to them.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at them and the way they train and they go about their day, like, I think they got this.
Yeah. And
if you look at Carrie, then you might think opposite because she's a stone cold killer.
Yeah.
But that's something definitely to keep our eye on.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I've gotten to spend a fair amount of time with Carrie this past like year or two. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that I've noticed about her is that like she's like sweet as can be, but when she's on the court, like she's out for blood. Like there's a reason she's been to 5 Olympics.
Oh yeah,
like,
big time.
She like turns it on and turns it off, and like she's incredible.
And look at April, same thing.
Yeah,
Kleinman has that fierce thing that she turns on.
Sponsel is the same way. Like it was crazy because I filled in for a practice. It was me and Jess Gaffney versus Sponsel and Kelly Clays.
Yeah. And
so me and Sarah are like pretty good friends, and like on the court, it's like I don't know if she hates me.
Suck it, Travis.
Yeah, and then as soon as it's over, she's just like laughing and giggling. She's like, "Oh, like you know, like did you go to Trader Joe's today?" Like I run into a Trader Joe's. Yeah,
you gotta have that. You can turn it off, but if you can't turn it on,
yeah,
I don't think you're gonna survive out there.
Yeah, and that's
has there ever been a great that didn't have that like fierce killer instinct?
I've thought about that a lot. I forget what brought it up, but maybe I was reading Tim. Have you ever read Tim Grover's book Relentless? No. I feel like that's something you'd be interested in. But he worked with Kobe a lot, and he talked about how like Kobe had a way of getting in touch with the dark side.
Right.
And he was just he's like all the greats have a dark side, like MJ, killer, like even Federer and like Nadal and Djokovic, Tiger Woods, like killer, even Steph Curry is like he's smiling, but he's out to kill you, you know.
100%.
Yeah, so like all the greats like do have that side to them.
Yep.
Michael Phelps.
I even notice when I'm playing, like if I just like absolutely refuse to lose. And I don't get in my own way by like, you know, ego comes in or like second guessing yourself. That's when I'm at my absolute best.
Yeah.
And I think if some people don't let themselves get there, you know, like they choose beforehand to be like, no, this is who I am. I'm gonna be this level, and I'm gonna stay here, and win or lose, this is how I'm gonna be.
Yeah.
Which I like respect as a person, but then as a player, as a opponent, I'm like, I love that.
Yeah.
I'd love for you to not go there right now because I'm about to go there. I'm about to win. I'm about to take your money, your lunch money, as Mikkel says.
Right.
And go buy myself a sandwich.
And then like right afterwards, like I'll shake your hand, do whatever, but like
absolutely. We can take a
I'm
picture.
Not going to be your friend.
I'll even give you an autograph.
I'll take your lunch money and I'll sign you something.
Yeah.
But yeah, like pretty much all those greats have that killer mindset. That's why I love but like Stockman and Larson have it too. Like Kelly Larson's like one of the sweetest people you'll ever talk to, but like 100%. On the court, like her and Emily like are out to kill you.
Yeah. You have to.
And I think that's why our women's side is so good.
Yeah.
Because like you have all 4 of those teams we mentioned. Like I'm rooting for I like all of them. And it's like hard to discount any of them.
Well, and they feed off of each other. Like you have to play to that level. Like coming into this sport as a woman over the last decade or so, even before that, you're looking at Carrie Walsh Jennings. And she sets the bar so high on and off the court that that's like that's par, you know? Okay, I gotta bring that intensity. I gotta, you know, everyone's watching every move of her. If she had done things at a lower level, I think everyone's lower, you know?
Yeah.
All boats rise on the high tide. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, a high tide lifts all boats.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Carrie was that high tide, but April attacked her real quick, and she just matched that bar, if not raised it from there.
For sure. Which is why I think that when I was making the list for stocks to buy for the women, I was like, holy cow, this is endless. So I made a rule, no college kids could be on the stocks to buy list. Because a lot of college kids, like Zana, for example, would have been on this list a year ago, but she was still at UCLA. So I ruled out any kids currently in college could not be on the stocks to buy.
All right.
It just made it easier to narrow it down.
We don't gamble with NCAA.
Right. So the biggest stock that I buy, and I'd hammer this stock here is Carissa Cook. I would just put a fortune on it.
With that.
I feel like she's so underrated. like everyone always talks about like everyone talks about like Zana or like Sarah Hughes or Sarah Sponsel, like all these girls. And like, she's just deceiving. Like, I feel like she's like the San Francisco 49ers. Like, no one was really talking about them all year, even though they're really good. They're like, oh, the Ravens. Look at Lamar Jackson run. It's like Jimmy Garoppolo was like 8 for 10, 2 touchdowns.
They're undefeated, right?
Yeah.
Like, but Lamar Jackson.
Right.
You're not going to beat him.
Right.
Patty Mahomes throwing off his back leg.
Right. And they're just plodding away doing their job. And, like, I feel like that's Carissa. We're like, she's so good. And she gets the job done with whoever she's playing with.
Didn't her fiance play for the Niners?
Yeah, he did, actually.
Oh, well, there you go.
So Shane Scove.
She's in.
X-49er, so perfect comparison. So Carissa Cook is my biggest stock to buy. I also love Kelly Reeves and Therese Cannon.
Yeah,
I think that
that'll be fun to watch.
Both of them are going to come into their own.
I've been like wanting, ever since I was broadcasting that one year in 2017, I was watching Kelly's game, and I was just super impressed. And I think she has all the intangibles. It's just a matter of getting that consistent partnership. Like, it didn't pan out with Brittany Howard, but I feel like this is it for her. And they just need to get on the same page because she has all the skill sets. Yeah, she's got that fire, and I could totally buy that stock for sure.
Yeah, so I'm big on them. I don't know if this would be a stock to buy since they're already like pretty high up there and made a final last year, but Kim Hildreth and Sarah Schermerhorn, Florida girls,
right.
who they were actually just at the house. They were here for a media day.
Oh yeah.
But they just qualified for the first FIVB in Cambodia. But 2 years ago they had this habit of losing 15-13 in the third set in every qualifier, last round, and then so when I talked to them, they're like, our goal was just to get 2 points better. And then they lost in Huntington, third set, and then they made the finals of Austin. And were just super good after that. They were automatic for Hawaii, which was impressive because it was small draw and fully loaded. Like, everyone was there. So I think that they'll have another good year. Two teams that I'm really excited about, I think Corinne, Quiggle, and Fallon are going to be phenomenal. Because I know that Corinne...
Fun to watch, for sure.
Corinne, that was like her first full-time year last year as a pro.
Right.
And we had Fallon on, and that was like she's figured it out. And they're 2 for 2 in tournaments. They've lost like 1 set, won 2 gold medals in Norsekas, and they seem to enjoy each other. Like, I see them twice a week before practice.
Fallon's got the good mama team camaraderie going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I would love to watch that as well.
And then I think Gina Urango and Emily Hartong. So Gina had a rough year last year. Was back into the qualifiers, lost, I think, first round in Chicago.
Gina's had the craziest career.
Yeah.
Because she's like, pound for pound, one of the best volleyball players out there. Easily, I think.
For sure.
Beach volleyball players. But I think it's just been like a lack of commitment or knowing where she wants to commit.
Yeah.
She's never wanted to play World Tour, but I think that's what's deterred partners from sticking with her or playing with her.
Yeah.
And then, dude, Hartong's a gnarly volleyball player,
She's
a gnarly
beast.
athlete.
Yeah.
And I've talked with her, seen her play a little bit, and she's really just in this state of like, I just need to learn this game. She has a very like good beginner's mindset right now. Like, teach me. I just want to learn. So you mix that with her physical abilities, and I think the biggest thing is she just needs to get the touch down. You know, like, how do you do a roll set? She's used to being indoor. We're just like set Emily, and she's just hammer ball.
Just swinging.
Yeah. So now maybe like, get that high line down, nice little easy cut, be able to set your partner, and she's going to be a beast. Yeah.
So I think if Emily's kind of gotten the hang of the beach game a little bit, which it seemed they did in Hawaii. They had a pretty good finish there. Came out of the qualifier. Knocked out Delaney and Katie in the last round, actually. And then I think they took a 7th maybe or 9th.
It wasn't Delaney Mewhirter, though.
It wasn't Delaney Mewhirter. No. She was still Justin Knudsen, Yeah.
Speaking of which, you buying that stock?
Yeah. Actually, I had that. Delaney and Katie.
Oh, I jumped the gun.
They're so good. I watch them practice all the time.
Really good volleyball players.
Yeah. Right? Like, I always, because my older brother, I always try to like simplify the game. like as much as possible for them because like neither of my brothers know anything about volleyball.
I learned that at the speeches at the wedding.
And so Tyler is my older brother, the redheaded one, and he's always like, what's the biggest thing in volleyball now? Is just say ball control. Because I think usually if you like look at two teams and if you pick the better one, the team with the better ball control, they'll win. I think like 75% of the time.
Right.
And Delaney and Katie are like the two best ball control players I've ever seen. Like they're so good and they're so annoying. Like they score in the cheapest, dirtiest ways possible. Yeah. Like they'll go 1 over on serves. They go over on
over on serves.
Oh yeah, like if you like give them an easy float serve, like they're like, "Thank you, come again."
I'd love to see that. Yeah. I'd love to be broadcasting that match.
I did that in a Norseca qualifier once to Mike Bogue and Matt Motter, and they just like stopped and just like watched it go down because they were like, "What?" And I was like, "Yep, snuck away with that one."
I don't even know how you do that. I can't even think of like a situation where I can get that down.
It's like if you see them serving short and you start moving in and it ends up being a pretty shitty serve that's like not too short and you have the momentum, you just boop.
Short?
Yeah, so if like I go like if the blocker is running up is when I do it because he's running and I just go right over top where he's running. Yeah. Not that I try to make a habit of it.
I really want to do that.
But I think Delaney and Katie, they're so good because I think that they are a testament where like the sum is greater like than their individual parts. Yeah. Like I think team chemistry, like they're the perfect example of it because they're like best friends. And they're just so good together where I think if you put like Delaney with another Katie-sized defender, they wouldn't be half as good. And if you put Katie with like a Delaney-sized blocker that wasn't Delaney, like they wouldn't be as good.
No defender, Katie-sized defender can play like Katie.
Yeah. She's like, I always joke with her that she's Kendra Jr.
Right. Mighty Mouse, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I'm big on them because like Delaney hadn't played between the wedding and the honeymoon, like she hadn't played in like 2 weeks. And then they came out and beat Kelly and Therese in practice today. Damn. Delaney was like, I guess we're still got it. So I'm big on Delaney and Katie. Big home team bias there as well. But
for sure. Yeah.
Another one that I think that you're probably semi-familiar with is Tracy Callahan. Mm-hmm. She's doing she's been doing double days with Evie since like December.
Oh, for sure.
And she's getting in with Mikkel. Mm-hmm. And you know, if she's got Mikkel's like approval.
Yeah, Mikkel says she's just, as he says, a dog.
Yeah.
She knows how to hit the gym, hit it hard.
Yeah.
She's committed, there to work. It seems like I actually haven't been able to see her play in a really long time.
She's good. She's just like really strong. Like just a really strong athlete. Yeah. And she Fendrick and Hughes' only loss in Cambodia came to Tracy Callahan and Chrissy Jones, who I think is another big stock to buy.
Is that the team for the year?
I don't know. I don't know what Zana's deal is. Right. Who she's playing with, but I mean, if you're Tracy and Chrissy, like you come out, you qualify for an FIVB, you beat Sarah and Fendrick, take top spot in pool, make the semifinals, I think. Yeah. Lose like a gnarly one to Kelly and Therese. It was like 15-13 in the third. Yeah.
That's impressive.
So that's like a really good outing.
Totally.
And especially like your first tournament, you got to go to Cambodia.
Yeah. Like during the coronavirus.
Yeah.
No, that's impressive. If you're enjoying it, I mean, you kind of got to let that ride.
Yeah. So I think Tracy's phenomenal. I think Chrissy, I feel like kind of got like shadowed a little bit by Zana. Because Zana has that like kind of golden girl
flair
vibe, you know, like she's like really good looking, phenomenal athlete, like making all these crazy plays. Yeah. Yeah. And so I think like Chrissy sort of got overshadowed by Zana's greatness a little bit last year. Yeah. So I think Chrissy stock to buy, Tracy definite stock to buy. If they're together, I don't know, but if they are together, like for sure, that's a team to watch. Yeah. And then the last girl I had on the list was Megan Rice. I don't know if you're familiar with her.
I am not.
So she made the finals in Hermosa with Katie Hogan.
Okay.
And she is a Florida player.
I feel like that was like a phantom event because I remember we were all gone. Yeah. And then I come back and I hear the names of the final and for the girls. Yeah. What? And then like Miles is in his first final with Doherty and Who else? Wasn't David Lee and Rosie in?
David Lee and Rosie really.
David Lee's in the final.
Really should have been in the final. They were in the semi.
Oh,
they were up 14-11.
Oh, that's what I heard.
And blew it at the freeze.
Who'd they lose? Oh,
Miles and Darty.
Who won the final?
Casey and Chase. 1 and 3.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, so Megan Rice was in the finals with Katie Hogan. She's a Florida player, and she kind of cleans up down in Florida. I think she's, like, super good. And Delaney doesn't think that anybody is all that great, and she says that Megan's really good.
Okay.
Delaney's like Mikkel, where if Delaney says you're good, then, like, you should probably watch.
Dang, okay. I wonder what she says about my game.
She'd probably be more critical of Trevor's.
I appreciate that.
But so those are all the women's stock to buy. Tried to keep it like the list reasonable, but there's just so many good women's players.
Totally, yeah.
So those are all kind of the partnership moves and stocks to buy. Are you ready to move? Is there anyone that we might have missed that you wanted to mention? Or any partnerships?
Not that I can think of.
All right, we'll move on to the next fan questions. Let's see. Troll Hunter has a couple college questions. So I put out rankings at the beginning of the year. So he kind of asked about those. Why do you have LSU ahead of Florida State this year? It would be the first time ever if Florida State doesn't get the number 1 East bid, he thinks. I'm not positive about that. But I have LSU, so I don't know if you've heard of Kristen Nuss and Claire Coppola. They qualified for a couple AVPs, but they pretty much like built the LSU program. They've been Court 1 since they were freshmen, and they're like 96 and like 17 or something. And they're so good. And last year they only lost to 2 pairs, the McNamara twins, who we've had on, and Tina Gradina, who qualified for the Olympics, and Abril Bustamante at USC. Those are their only losses. They're like 33-4, I think. So they got Claire and Kristen, who I pretty much slot as an automatic win every time. They have this girl named Tony Rodriguez, she was an indoor player. Came out to the beach last year, was like a little bra, and then she qualified in Manhattan with Aurora Davis, one of my favorite people in the world. So she's going to be super good. So I think that LSU added more pieces than it lost.
Right. And
where Florida State, they returned a lot from last year, but I just think that LSU, what they have is just stronger, more consistent. His second question: what reasons do you predict Pepperdine at number 4 after their worst season ever and graduating half their starters? Pepperdine is I don't know if you realize, if you kind of kept up with college at all.
A little bit here and there. I do it through you mostly.
Yeah, it's Pepperdine had a wild year where the beginning of the year they had a shooting near campus, and so they their whole fall season was washed out. And then they one of their best players tore her ACL right before the season, so they had to make an adjustment. They had landslides and flooding in Malibu, so their beach was tanked.
Brush fires every other day.
And then they had all the fires, so they were evacuated from campus. And it was Marcio's first year as head coach, and then he missed their first tournament because he had a newborn son.
Oh my god!
So then they had all that going on, and they still went 20-11, and were ranked And they beat USC at one point in the year, and USC went into Gulf Shores as the number 1 ranked team in the country.
Right.
So despite all that, Pepperdine was really good. And then they added kind of the same thing as LSU, that they added a lot of pieces. They have these 2 really good freshmen. One's this girl, I think from Texas, named Sutton McTavish. She's awesome. And then I think they have one of the best court ones. These 2 girls, Deanna Kraft and Brooke Bauer. Brooke Bauer's from Florida. And she's really good. Their court 2 is pretty much the same. Court 3 is pretty much the same. And then they have this gnarly indoor transfer from Michigan named Carly Scott. So Pepperdine's loaded from top to bottom.
Right.
So I put them in there. Even though they lost a couple players, I think what they gained is, I think they ended up net positive.
I feel they're one of those programs too who kind of reload.
Yeah.
They don't have to really wait a few years to get back, even if they lose a few pieces, with a coach like Marcio and the tradition that they have.
Yeah.
I think that's safe to say. If they bring in talent, they're going to be good.
Yeah, and there's only 2 programs in the country who have made the national championship every year. Pepperdine's one, and Florida State's the other. So not counting them out until they prove me wrong.
Right. That makes sense.
This guy, Beach One, just says, I want to know more about the inner workings of the AVP. He's requesting Josh Glazebrook. We'll see what we can do.
Ooh, I would love that.
We would love to have Joshy on. All right, so this guy is asking about USA, so you can kind of drop some knowledge here. This is from Cap. I would like to hear some more about the USAV beach team and how those practices go. We've heard a little bit from Tri about how he does not particularly like training against his main competition, but I would like to hear what you two think the value is and if it has changed how the top teams train.
That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I think the training's been really valuable. What Tyler Hildebrand's brought in is just that national team vibe where he wants everyone together at least once a week. Actually, twice a week is what they usually do. Trevor and I and Jose choose to go once a week so we can get our own training in. But, I mean, I don't like training with my opponent. I don't think it's beneficial for any of us to train against each other all the time. Like, there's other national teams where every day of practice, the other national team players are there, and you have the same coaches.
Yeah.
And for us, we're enemy number one. Other countries, they don't have domestic tour. So, like, for me to work on all my stuff and be saying it out loud and, like, showing it to them and, like, doing the same stuff just doesn't make sense. But there's so much value to be gained by showing up to these practices, which is why we go once a week on Thursdays. We go to the national team practice and we get to, it's more just competing in drills. It's not that much of, Hildebrand actually builds it based on, he puts us in different situations and lets us fight our way out of it. So bad sets, sets off the net, outside, inside, different set heights. There's different rules. You can't block line. You can't do this call. Aces are worth 2. So he's just changing the situations and letting us battle it out. And it's super valuable because you're not going to get higher level training with 4 teams in the U.S. Like, these are the top 4 teams in the U.S. Phil and Nick are only here when they're here, but I mean, yeah, I think everyone was skeptical in the beginning of going to that system because we're so used to, like, why would I want to train against these people that I just spend my whole life training to beat? Right? Or why would I want to train with them? But there's certainly value to be gained, and we just find the perfect balance between those. And I think Hildebrand's brought a lot of value to our national team with his perspective. It's just very different. There's stuff that I completely agree with, there's stuff that I don't agree with, and there's stuff that he's changed my mind on. But all in all, it's been definitely positive.
Yeah. And then there's kind of like a second half. Says that I'm sure it's been a great resource for a lot of the players, which I think unanimously it probably has been a great resource, whether you go once a week, twice a week, or you're feeling Nick and you just pop in here and there. But on the men's side especially, it seems like there's hardly any young talent that USAV is bringing up to develop. Taylor Crabb and Brian Cook as the only players under 30 on the roster. It's not true. I'm sitting next to one. And, well, I guess you're 30 now. You're the 33rd. Is Trevor 30 yet?
Trevor's 32, yeah.
Wow. All right. So you're over the
hill. Now,
you're
right?
over the hill, man. And there's no one under the age of 27. But I think Miles Partain is kind of being brought in a little bit.
Yeah, no. They're definitely keeping the young guys in. Miles Evans is in there in the weight room a lot. There's just like a hierarchy. Like once you prove yourself, they'll let you in the gym. Like, hey, you have gym access. We can't give you access to the trainers because the trainers only have so much time.
Right.
Hildebrand can only watch film with a few teams, so it's really very tiered. But if there's a good indoor player, Hildebrand gets them. And Sean Scott, they get him straight into the gym. Like, you skip all the rest of it, proving yourself, if you're coming from, like, the U.S. national team.
Right.
Partain's proven himself, so Hildebrand's given him access. I think he has access, but I just don't think he uses it yet because he's still in
high school.
Yeah, he's in high school. Oh, my God. So what Hildebrand has done, though, is he invited him to national team practice. And Partain sits there on the sidelines and just talks and asks questions, a lot of questions. And, I mean, that's so valuable. If I could have done that in high school, oh my God. I didn't even like sniff a professional beach court out in Hawaii. So no, their national team totally has those players in mind. They just can't give them full access because they only have so many resources, and you got to take care of your top guys, or else if you don't take care of the top teams, then it's like you're not giving the top teams anything to work towards.
Yeah,
like it's got to be good at the top, and you got to be able to go all in and I mean the goal of the national team, the way that USA Volleyball gets funding is medals.
Yeah.
4, 5 stars, World Championships, and Olympics. That's all the USOC cares about. And if they don't get, USA Volleyball doesn't get those, bye-bye.
Yeah.
No funding.
All right, well, I contributed 1 bronze medal that doesn't count.
Hey, doesn't count, but it's right here.
USOC doesn't care about that guy.
Been waiting for the restoration girl to put this one out.
But it's there.
It looks the same.
Looks the exact same. I'll just wash out the 1 star on it.
Yeah.
Let's see. This guy, I'm Beechin. Would love to know who you guys feel are the top up-and-coming coaches and why you feel that way. Also, having trained with some pairs over the offseason, who do you think is in line to have a big year? We've kind of already discussed that. So, up-and-coming coaches. I love Jordan Chang. He's been one of my best buds, and he's coaching Sarah and Kelly.
He's risen the ranks faster than anyone.
Yeah.
Came in with Reed, so he got that expedited path. And then, spot opened up when Leandro wasn't coaching Clays and Sponsel anymore. And now Jordan Chang has himself a number 3 team in the U.S. all of a sudden.
Yeah, and they love him, too. They're all on board. And Jordan, he's super humble and, like beginner kind of growth mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And because I asked him, I was like, well, would you want to, like, step into Phil Tyler's job? He's like, no, like, there's no way I'm ready.
Right.
So I think in terms of, like, up-and-coming coaches, like, I think Jordan Chang is the guy.
Yeah, and I think it seems like, and I've never been coached by him, but it seems like he's, like you said, he's patient. He's not trying to like act like he's done more than he has or that he knows more than he does. He's just learning and giving his 2 cents when he can. And he knows volleyball at a high level. He has a lot to contribute, but he's picking and choosing what to say, and I appreciate that, when coaches come out in the beginning, because it's like at the end of the day I've been out on the sand a lot more, like there's some stuff that you just got to trust me on, you know? But he's flying through the system for sure.
And one thing, he's coached a couple of the practices that I've been at, and he's great at, he'll ask you your opinion before he gives his. He's like, well, why did you do this?
Right.
And I'll say, because I saw this. And he's like, that's interesting. Okay. He's like, all right, well, now that I know that, I'll look for that. And he gets
smart.
Yeah, he's great. So he's not just like ordering you around the whole time. He's just getting as much information as possible and tailoring it to you.
And not just saying something because there's a timeout, because there's silence.
Right.
It's like, I hate that when coaches, I'm like, you're saying something because
you can.
Because there's a break, and it sounds like a coach should say something right now. But really, I need you to say something if you have something to say, and if not, let's not do this.
Yeah. A couple other coaches that come to mind. This guy, LT, he just moved here.
I've only heard of him.
He coached me and Rafi before Chicago. I really liked the practices that he ran. He coached Baranek and Kolinsky in Manhattan when they got their 3rd. He's been running kind of group trainings with Avery and Chase, Bjork and Logan, Casey and Troy, Miles and Theo, Came and Chase. So he's been kind of getting around and getting in pretty good groups. I don't know if he's like locking in a team to coach or anything, but he's just out here running good
quality
group practices. Yeah.
Well, Came and K-Spear broke up, but did their coach stick with K-Spear?
Mike Campbell.
Yeah, Mike.
I don't know who. He's the head coach at Long Beach during fall season spring. So I don't know like what he does until May.
Right.
I don't know if he helps Cam or Jeremy, but he was obviously worked.
Yeah.
Cam and Jeremy were awesome last year.
Yeah, for sure. Leandro, we've been using Leandro a little bit. He's great. Not new to the game.
Yeah.
But I really love the feedback he has.
Yeah. And he coached me before P1440 Huntington. And I had my best finish. Got a 5th. So I like him.
Dude, I think there's so much potential there for coaches. Like if some of these indoor coaches, like they see the beach, it's like, oh, I'm not going to go volunteer my time or whatever. But like not every team has a coach, like not even close. Yeah. And the game is getting so good that every team is going to need a coach. Yeah. So if I'm a good indoor coach, I'm looking at this as like, I'm going to get in now. Look at Jordan Chang. Yeah. He bailed from indoor, and now he's got the number 3 team.
27 years old.
He's fully on the world tour. Yeah. That's a good life, and you can make a pretty good living, depending on how well the girls do.
And they're doing really well.
And you have a long off season, and you're home a lot. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of potential. There's Colin. I don't know Colin's last name. He's been coming out a lot.
Wilson. Colin Wilson.
Yeah. Yeah. So he showed up, and it's so funny. He showed up, I want to say from Maryland.
He coached at South Carolina.
South Carolina. Darn it.
He was on their
Gamecocks.
Same coast.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, listen, it's all the same. No, just kidding. The fake SC, right?
Yeah. The East Coast SC, fake SC.
Mm-hmm. But he showed up the first day, and he told me, he's like, I was listening to the podcast, and I actually took your advice, because at one point you said, you just got to come out here and just show up at practices and just immerse yourself. And he's like, so that's what I did. Yeah. Now, I don't know if he actually did it just because we said it on the podcast, but he's been just showing up to practices and helping us out and like just being a hand. And then all of a sudden Hildebrand's like, oh, this guy's awesome. He wants to help. I could use help. Yeah. And now he's at all the national team practices. And now Hildebrand's giving him a voice and like asking for his opinion. And now it's been like a few months he's been out here. Yeah. He's working his way up the system
and
already.
Like, he just like showed up. So he was with the 1440 developmental program. And he just showed up one morning. Yeah. Like I like didn't know who he was. And he just like kept coming. He was like shagging balls and doing stuff and helping us out. And, like super nice guy. And then I saw him at the AVCA coaches convention in Pittsburgh, and he was just there, just like picking brains and just talking to people. And then he's out at LT's practices. He's at the USA practices. He's just doing stuff.
I feel like he just walks down the strand and is like, yep, practice. Oh, there's a practice. Yeah. And no one's going to be like, hey, get away. Because he knows when to talk and when not to. Yeah. And he just helps.
And I think he also volunteers at Northridge.
Yes. I believe that's true too.
Yeah. So good on him.
That's the way. I mean, that's going to turn into a paid position real quick.
For sure.
But talk about just investing your time in yourself. Yeah. It's the way to go.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of a good overview of the coaches. I think that's all I can really think of.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some out there we can't think of right now.
Yeah. I mean, I've been coached a little bit by Stein since he's took over the 1440 dev program. Mm-hmm. I love his coaching style. It's awesome because it's super friendly, direct, relatable, but no bullshit. Mm-hmm. He somehow just intertwines all these things that you like. Most coaches, like you kind of have like the hard ass, like or the Pete Carroll, right? You got Bobby Knight or Pete Carroll, rah. Yeah, and he's like right in between, and it's great.
Love it.
And like everything he says, just like clicked with me immediately. Like when some coaches say something, it's just like a light bulb. Yep. Like Stein said like 3 things, and it was just like, wow, how could I not have thought about passing that way?
Well, that's like the other day at the USA program. I'm playing defense, and Mike Dodd decided to post himself up on one side of the court where we're all playing. 3 teams are siding out, and 1 team's on defense. Okay. And he posts himself up on the back line, and he just like bends over, and he's like, all right, Trent, let's do this. And I'm playing defense. I'm like, whoa, I got Mike Dodd in my ear. And he's talking as the play's going. He's like, watch it, patient, watch it, move, see the set. Yeah. I'm like, that's great. My God. I have the mind of Mike Dodd in my head right now. I feel like I can do anything. Yeah. And I really did feel like I was making like different moves and kind of seeing things differently. Yeah. Oh, that was awesome. So valuable.
But like just little things like that. So I think I'm gonna have to talk to Stein once UCLA is over for the year, see if he can coach me. But because I love his coaching style. We got 2 more fan questions. I know we've taken up a fair amount of everyone's time.
It's a record episode.
How long we got?
Hour 15.
Whoa! All right, we'll make
Lots of info.
Make them quick. This is a really interesting one. This is from guest 2. Do you feel that some players put unnecessary pressure on their partnerships by setting unrealistic goals and perhaps not being accountable? For example, Reed was trying to make the Olympics and has been milling through partners and now has ended up with someone who many think is not as good as his previous two. So I think the question is, do you think that like if me and you were to be partners, we're like, all right, we're going to go make the Olympics, we're going to win 6 F5 and we're going to do this and that. And then obviously like those are really high. And if you fall short, then I look at you and like, well, it's Try's fault. We're done.
Right.
Which I think happens at the qualifier level all the time. I think that what this guy just said is an exact approximation of every qualifier player's mindset.
Right.
Oh, we lost one qualifier, your fault.
Right.
Doesn't matter if the other guy was bombing aces, tagging lines the whole time, your fault. We're done.
It's like that get rich quick thing where, oh, I'm going to try this. Oh, it didn't work. Okay, next.
Yeah.
When you're like, oh, you were sitting, you just planted the seed, and you were waiting for it to sprout, or it sprouted a little, but it wasn't a tree.
Right.
So then you're pissed and you go plant another seed somewhere else.
Exactly.
No, I mean, I think that's spot on. It totally happens. With the Reed situation, I don't know what he's a smart guy and he knows what he's doing. I feel like he has different motives sometimes,
Yeah.
But, I mean, in terms of other players, that's why you don't see a lot of movement at the top.
Exactly.
Really. I mean, it's a little off because you obviously have the incentive to stay with your partner and you've already made it there, Oh, I'm in the money position. Why would I move? That's easy. No one would move. But I also think that those players understand. I mean, I've had 2 partners my whole career.
Yeah.
And I didn't even drop my other partner. We got forced to split.
Right.
Or maybe I'd still be playing with Hayden. Who knows? But I think the players that are making it understand that, and they're really investing in their partners and in their relationships. And I mean, you're learning every partner. You have to learn a new system for. Like, I love the way that I used to play volleyball. If I play the way I play with Hayden, it doesn't work.
Right.
Which is so frustrating. Like I'm like, dude, I can do all this, all this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, it only works if the guy behind me is doing the exact opposite. You have to be working in sync, and I got to play to my guy's strengths now. And if I were to switch partners again and again, like I feel like I'm barely just getting to know how to play around Trevor's game. Yeah. Like I still feel like I'm on step 3 of 10. Yeah. And I'm in my 2nd year and in position for the Olympics. Yeah. So yeah, I think you're spot on.
Yeah, I think there's an important distinction to make between goals and expectations. I was listening to a podcast with Michaela Schifrin, who's the best skier on the planet right now, and she mentioned something like this, that she sets goals and she thinks goals are important, but her goals are not her expectations. So she sets these really high goals, but it's not what she expects to achieve, it's what she wants to. So I think partners will set goals for themselves that are also their expectations. Right. Where we're going to qualify 7 out of 8 tournaments. And if you only qualify in 3 out of 6, then you're like, well, this didn't meet my expectations. Right. So I think it's important to, and what a lot of partnerships don't do is make that delineation between their goals and what they actually expect to achieve.
I think you're spot on. And I think of it in my mind, and it's like the goals are a North Star. You're out floating in the middle of the ocean. You know you're going in that direction. Right. But that doesn't help you figure out how to get through this storm that you're in right now. Yeah. You're in a squall. You might want to go around, or you see it in front of you. You might want to take a little turn. But if you're so set on, no, it's right there, I got to go that way, then you just ride yourself straight into a storm, you know what I mean? So I think expectations is how do you want to be throughout that journey towards that North Star? Do I want to adapt? Do I want to, stay even keel through the highs and lows? Do I want to communicate with my partner, connect with my partner? Do I want to get better at serving? Do I want to learn certain amount of things or something? I just want to get better at, like me and Trevor's goal this year is really simple. Get better at volleyball. just get a little bit better.
Yeah.
That's all we want to do because we have so much to learn.
Right.
As split blockers, we understand that it's not perfect. Last year we went into it like, hey, you know how to side out? I know how to side out. All right, let's do it. Screw the rest of it, dude. Like, I don't know how to block for you behind me, and I don't know how to play defense behind you.
Yeah.
So now we're like, if we can just learn how to play a little bit of defense, then it'll be great.
Yeah.
So that's how I think of it.
Yeah. So we have one last question. Super simple answer. Is Chicago the only event with a reduced field from last season? Yes, Chicago is going from a big draw of 24 to a small draw of 16. Everything else staying the same. So that's kind of our season preview.
Booyah.
Booyah.
I hope that took you through like 3 car rides.
Yeah, hopefully. Sorry for the length, but they're your questions. So we just tried to answer them as thoroughly as possible. So we got season coming up. It's time to get training again.
Let's get back to work, people.
Let's get back to work. Shoots.